Ruth Gordon was a true Hollywood original, an actress, screenwriter, and playwright who defied the odds and carved out a remarkable career spanning over 7 decades. She won an Oscar, penned classic films, and became a beloved figure on both stage and screen. But behind the scenes, her journey was filled with struggles, triumphs, and personal sacrifices. And in the end, her story took a turn that many found both strange and sad. So, what really happened to Ruth Gordon? Let's take a look back at her incredible life, her lasting legacy, and how it all came to an end. Ruth Gordon, the celebrated actress and screenwriter, carved out a remarkable career that spanned over 7 decades, leaving an indelible mark on both stage and screen. Born Ruth Gordon Jones on October 29, 1897, in Wollaston, Massachusetts, she developed an early fascination with performance. As a teenager, she took her first steps into the entertainment industry, landing minor roles in silent films. But her true breakthrough came at age 19 when she made her Broadway debut, an accomplishment that set the stage for a series of well-received performances. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Gordon established herself as a gifted and versatile actress, excelling in both comedic and dramatic roles. Her work in the theater world earned her critical acclaim, and she became a fixture on the Broadway stage, captivating audiences with her distinctive voice, expressive features, and sharp comedic timing. However, despite her early success, Gordon's career took an unexpected turn in the 1940s when acting opportunities became scarce. Rather than stepping away from the entertainment industry, she reinvented herself as a screenwriter, a move that proved to be one of the most significant turning points of her career. Teaming up with her husband, playwright Garson Kanin, she co-wrote several screenplays that became major hits. Among them were Adam's Rib, 1949, and Pat and Mike, 1952, both of which starred Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, and earned Academy Award nominations for Best Original Screenplay. Her ability to craft witty dialogue and sharp character-driven stories made her an invaluable talent in Hollywood, and she quickly gained recognition as one of the industry's most skilled screenwriters. Although Gordon had found success behind the scenes, her passion for performing never faded. In the 1960s, she experienced a major career resurgence, winning over a new generation of audiences with her unique screen presence. She delivered one of her most unforgettable performances in Roman Polanski's psychological horror masterpiece, Rosemary's Baby, 1968, in which she portrayed Minnie Castevet, the meddlesome and sinister neighbor who plays a key role in the film's unsettling narrative. Her portrayal of Minnie, with her exaggerated mannerisms and seemingly harmless but deeply unsettling demeanor, was widely praised. The role earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress at the age of 72, making her one of the oldest winners in Oscar history at the time. Following her Oscar win, Gordon became a sought-after character actress, appearing in a steady stream of film and television roles throughout the 1970s and 1980s. She frequently played eccentric, spirited older women who stole scenes with their wit and bold personalities. Some of her most notable films from this era included Harold and Maude, 1971, in which she played the unconventional, free-spirited Maude opposite Bud Cort's melancholic Harold. The dark comedy, which was initially met with mixed reviews, later gained cult status and remains one of Gordon's most celebrated performances. Beyond her contributions to film and theater, Gordon was also an accomplished writer. In addition to her work as a screenwriter, she penned 3 volumes of memoirs and a novel, offering readers a glimpse into her long and eventful life in show business. Her memoirs reflected the same sharp wit and irreverent humor that had defined her acting and writing career, further solidifying her legacy as an entertainer who excelled in multiple disciplines. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Gordon's career was not just her longevity, but her unwavering determination. Her journey in show business could have ended before it even began, particularly in 1915, when, after completing her first year at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, she was called into the office of the school's president. With brutal honesty, he told the 18-year-old Gordon, "We feel that you are not suited to acting. You show no promise." It was the kind of discouragement that could have ended a young performer's ambitions. But Gordon refused to accept defeat. Instead of giving up, she persevered, proving over the next 7 decades that talent, resilience, and an unshakable belief in oneself could defy even the harshest criticism. Gordon's parents were just as taken aback by her sudden declaration as the Academy had been years later. Her father, Clinton Jones, a former sea captain who had settled in Wollaston, Massachusetts after leaving the sea, was particularly skeptical. Now working as an overseer at a local food processing plant, he was a pragmatic man who had envisioned a more traditional career path for his daughter. "What makes you think you've got what it takes?" he bellowed when she announced her plans to become an actress. Gordon had no immediate response. She wasn't conventionally beautiful, she was petite in stature, and aside from a few school pageants, she had no formal stage experience. What she did have, however, was an unshakable certainty that acting was what she was meant to do. More importantly, she knew she had no interest in the future her father had mapped out for her, becoming a physical education teacher. Her mother, Ann Jones, was far more understanding. A secretary who contributed to the family's finances, Anne saw the spark in her daughter and became her first real supporter. Recognizing Ruth's determination, she convinced Clinton to allow their daughter to apply to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. Despite his doubts, he eventually relented, agreeing to pay the $400 tuition, a considerable sum at the time, along with an additional $10 per week to cover her board at the Three Arts Club, a well-regarded residence for young women pursuing careers in theater. Located on East 85th Street, the club provided a respectable and supportive environment for aspiring actresses, musicians, and artists trying to make their way in the competitive world of New York's performing arts scene. With her parents' reluctant backing, Gordon took her first real step toward the career that would ultimately define her life. The reality of studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts was far different from what Gordon had envisioned. She had been drawn to the excitement and energy of the theater, but instead she found herself struggling with its structure and discipline. The theoretical lessons taught in class felt abstract and difficult to grasp, and she faced significant challenges in student productions. Memorizing lines proved to be a daunting task, and even when she managed to remember them, delivering them with confidence and naturalism was another hurdle entirely. She also lacked the stage presence and graceful movement expected of a performer, making it clear that she was far from a polished actress. By the end of her first year, she was back in Wollaston, having failed to establish herself as a standout student at the academy. Despite this setback, Gordon was not ready to give up. Determined to pursue a career in acting, she convinced her parents to allow her to return to New York in the fall of 1915, not to continue her studies, but to find work. The urgency of her situation became even greater when her mother suffered a stroke and had to be placed in a nursing home, leaving the family with no extra money to support Ruth's ambitions. Now on her own, she faced the harsh reality of trying to break into the theater world with no connections, no formal training, and no financial safety net. She spent weeks trudging from one theatrical office to another, meeting with managers and agents, but received nothing but rejection. With no stage offers in sight, she turned to the only available source of income, working as an extra in silent films. Studios across the Hudson River in Fort Lee, New Jersey, were producing films at a rapid pace, and while the pay was meager at just $5 a day, it was enough to keep her afloat. Though she saw this work merely as a way to survive, her time in front of the camera would prove to be an early introduction to the film industry, the very medium that would one day bring her international fame. Gordon's fortunes took a turn for the better when she secured her first role on Broadway, albeit a minor one. She was cast as one of the Lost Boys in Maude Adams's 1915 production of Peter Pan, a role that required little spoken dialogue, an advantage given her struggles with line memorization and stage presence. Though small, the opportunity gave her a foothold in the industry and the confidence to continue pursuing theater. Her prospects seemed even brighter when she successfully auditioned for the lead role in a touring production of Fair and Warmer, a comedy that had enjoyed a successful Broadway run under the Selwyn brothers, who were now expanding their profits by launching multiple road companies. Gordon was placed in one of 7 touring casts and set off on a months-long journey through small towns in Ohio and Illinois, performing in places with names like Crawfordsville, Cooperstown, and Circleville. However, her inexperience quickly became apparent. Critics were universally unimpressed with her performances, and her reviews were overwhelmingly negative. The only thing that saved her from being dismissed was the Selwyn brothers' inability to find a replacement. Her biggest struggle remained line memorization, to the point where the road manager advised her to focus on the general idea of each scene and improvise her dialogue. This, of course, led to significant confusion for her fellow actors, who often found themselves lost in conversations that veered off script. Despite the difficulties, Gordon tried to maintain a positive outlook, writing cheerful letters to a childhood friend back home, putting the best spin she could on the challenging experience. By the time she returned to New York in late 1916, she had managed to save $60 a week from the tour, but the money was quickly depleted, leaving her in a desperate financial situation for several months. Just as she reached a breaking point, she landed a new opportunity, a role in a stage adaptation of Booth Tarkington's 17, which was set to debut in Columbus, Ohio, before making its way east with the hope of securing a Broadway run. Gordon was cast as the baby talk lady, but not because of an outstanding audition. Instead, she owed her selection to Gregory Kelly, the actor cast as her leading man. Kelly happened to be present at her audition, and after witnessing her performance, urged the producer to hire her when the original actress for the role fell ill. It was a stroke of luck that gave Gordon another chance to prove herself on stage, and this time, the experience would prove far more significant to her future career. Gordon's time with 17 was brief, ending when the production reached Boston, but it proved to be a turning point in both her personal and professional life. During the tour, her relationship with Gregory Kelly deepened, not only romantically, but also as a mentor-student dynamic. Kelly, an experienced and confident actor, recognized Gordon's struggles and took it upon himself to help her improve. He taught her essential memorization techniques, which had long been a weakness, and provided her with a repertoire of stage mannerisms and line delivery methods that gave her performances more polish. His guidance helped her develop the stage presence she had previously lacked, setting the foundation for the skilled actress she would become. However, their relationship soon faced a crisis. By the time the show arrived in Boston, Gordon had discovered she was pregnant. Both she and Kelly feared that, if the news became public, it would destroy her burgeoning career as an unwed actress with a child, would face enormous social and professional stigma. With few options available, she made the difficult decision to leave the theater after just one night's performance and undergo an illegal abortion. The procedure left her weak and in poor health for several days, a traumatic experience that she never spoke of publicly during her lifetime. Despite this ordeal, their relationship endured, and by late 1918, after the tour ended, Gordon and Kelly married. Their partnership flourished, both personally and professionally. Soon after, Gordon landed her first starring role on Broadway in Tweedles, a play based on another Booth Tarkington work. She and Kelly not only starred in the production together, but also produced it themselves. This time, the critics responded with enthusiasm, praising her performance and marking it as a significant step forward in her career. Following the success of Tweedles, Gordon was cast in The Touring Company of Clarence, another play by Tarkington. She played a governess who falls in love with her employer, once again portrayed by Kelly, further solidifying their reputation as a formidable acting duo. By this point, Gordon had fully established herself as a respected stage actress, and she and Kelly had become one of the most recognized acting couples of the time, drawing comparisons to the legendary theatrical duo Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontanne. Their success extended beyond the stage. They toured Europe, formed friendships with some of New York's most influential literary and theater figures, and enjoyed a lifestyle that reflected their growing prominence. Summers were spent sailing off the coast of Nantucket or in Long Island Sound, a testament to their rising status in the entertainment world. Gordon had not only overcome her early struggles, but had also built a thriving career alongside the man who had played such a pivotal role in shaping her as an actress. In 1927, just as Gordon was preparing for her next major stage production, tragedy struck. While she was in rehearsals for Saturday's Children, a new play by Maxwell Anderson, Gregory Kelly suffered a massive heart attack. He was rushed to a hospital in New York, but passed away shortly after being admitted. His sudden death was a devastating loss, both personally and professionally, as he had been her greatest supporter and mentor throughout her career. Despite her grief, Gordon refused to abandon the production. Perhaps as a tribute to all that Kelly had done for her, she insisted on continuing with the rehearsal schedule and honoring the show's planned out-of-town opening in Stamford, Connecticut. Turning to director Guthrie McClintock for guidance, she poured herself into the work, using the stage as both a distraction and a means of pushing forward. When Saturday's Children finally opened on Broadway after its successful trial run, it became her biggest triumph to date. The show sold out before its official opening, marking Gordon's arrival as a truly accomplished actress in her own right. Now recognized as a leading talent on Broadway, she built an impressive resume over the next decade, earning widespread acclaim for her performances in a diverse range of productions. She took on the challenging role of Amanda in Philip Barry's Hotel Universe, a mystical and introspective play that demanded both emotional depth and intellectual precision. She followed this with Serena Blandish, a sophisticated comedy by S.N. Berman, and They Shall Not Die, John Wexley's powerful anti-war drama. Each role showcased her growing mastery of the craft, and audiences and critics alike began to see her as one of the most versatile actresses of her generation. Her ability to fully transform into each character became even more evident in 1936, when she delivered two of the most contrasting performances of her career. In William Congreve's classic restoration comedy The Country Wife, she played the scheming and hilariously manipulative Mrs. Pinchwife, a role that required sharp comedic timing and a flair for theatricality. That same year, she gave a strikingly different performance in a stage adaptation of Edith Wharton's Ethan Frome, portraying the tragic and delicate Mattie Silver. Once again working under McClintock's direction, Gordon brought a luminous vulnerability to the role, capturing the quiet despair at the heart of Wharton's story. The production's impact was so profound that even Edith Wharton herself took notice. Writing from Paris, the esteemed author sent a letter to Gordon, praising her performance. The human and essential part of Ethan Frome does seem to reach your audience. I know how largely your personification of Maddie contributed to their impression. For Gordon, this was an especially meaningful validation, proving that her artistic choices resonated even with the woman who had created the character. Critics who had once dismissed her as an unremarkable ingenue were now forced to reevaluate their earlier assessments. The freshness she brought to each role was widely praised, and it became clear that she had evolved into a performer of remarkable depth and range. With every new production, Gordon reinforced her reputation as a commanding presence on the stage, ensuring that she would not be remembered simply as Kelly's protégé, but as a formidable actress in her own right. As Gordon relentlessly pushed forward in her career, armed with persistence, resilience, and sheer determination, she also led an eventful personal life. In her autobiography, My Side, she candidly revealed that not long after Gregory Kelly's death, she had a brief relationship with a producer that resulted in an unplanned pregnancy, which she ultimately chose to terminate. During the 1930s, she became romantically involved with producer Jed Harris, a powerful but notoriously difficult figure in the theater world. Their long-running affair led to the birth of their son Jones during a discreet trip to Paris. Though Harris acknowledged paternity and provided financial support, Gordon kept the details of their relationship largely private, raising her son in New York while continuing to focus on her stage career. As World War II loomed, Gordon made a return to the stage in a production of The Three Sisters, directed by Elia Kazan. During rehearsals, she was frequently seen in public with writer Garson Kanin. The two had crossed paths socially for years, attending the same theater functions and parties, but there had been little initial attraction between them. Even during their first extended conversation at a dinner hosted by director George Cukor at Sardi's, or later at the premiere of Abe Lincoln in Illinois, her first film in nearly 2 decades, there was no spark. In Abe Lincoln in Illinois, 1940, she reunited on screen with Raymond Massey, playing Mary Todd Lincoln opposite his portrayal of Abraham Lincoln. This role marked a return to film after spending most of her career on stage. She followed it with 2 more films, Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet, 1940, a historical drama about medical breakthroughs, and Two-Faced Woman, 1941, a romantic comedy starring Greta Garbo. It wasn't until a third encounter with Kanin that something changed. Reflecting on their relationship, Gordon later recalled that sparks began to fly, though she initially doubted the future of their romance. I was 45. He was 29. What kind of agony lay in store? But rather than agony, their relationship turned into one of the most enduring and successful creative partnerships in entertainment history. In 1942, Gordon and Kanin married, embarking on both a personal and professional collaboration that would shape the next phase of their careers. Their first joint project was a play inspired by an idea of Gordon's, Over 21, which premiered in 1944. The title was a pointed response to a doctor who had once asked Gordon's age, prompting her indignant retort that she was, in fact, over 21. The play, loosely based on their own experiences, depicted the ups and downs of a romance between a young journalist and an older actress. It was well received and quickly adapted into a film the following year, solidifying their reputation as a formidable writing team. Gordon and Kanan quickly became one of Hollywood's most successful screenwriting duos, delivering a series of sharp, sophisticated comedies that captivated audiences. Their first major success came in 1948 with A Double Life, a clever and darkly humorous backstage drama about an actor portraying Othello who becomes consumed by the role, blurring the lines between his character and real life. The film was directed by George Cukor, who had not only been responsible for introducing Gordon and Kanan years earlier, but also became a key collaborator in their screenwriting career. Cukor was actively seeking fresh material for two of his favorite actors, Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, whose off-screen romance bore similarities to Gordon and Kanan's own dynamic. Their first screenplay written specifically for Hepburn and Tracy was Adam's Rib, 1949, a witty and battle of the sexes courtroom comedy about a married couple who find themselves on opposite sides of a legal case. The film was an instant hit, and Gordon and Kanan's sharp, fast-paced dialogue earned them an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay. Their success with Adam's Rib led to another tailor-made script for the famous duo, Pat and Mike, 1952, which cast Hepburn as a fiercely independent athlete and Tracy as her small-time but determined manager. That same year, Gordon and Kanan wrote another well-received comedy, The Marrying Kind, 1952, starring Judy Holliday and Aldo Ray. The film followed a couple reflecting on their turbulent marriage as they approached divorce, offering a mix of humor and heartfelt drama. Then, in 1953, Gordon turned inward for inspiration, adapting her own experiences into The Actress. Based on a play she had written earlier in her career, the film told the semi-autobiographical story of a young woman fighting to become an actress against the wishes of her skeptical father. The film was a deeply personal project for Gordon, as it mirrored her own struggles to break into the theater world despite family opposition. Although Gordon and Kanan's success as screenwriters kept her away from acting for many years, there was another, more practical reason for her prolonged absence, one that countless actresses of her generation faced. As she entered middle age, substantial roles for women in Hollywood became increasingly scarce. While she remained an active force behind the scenes, she rarely appeared on stage or in front of the camera. That changed in 1965 when, at the age of 69, she made a stunning return to film, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her career. She appeared in Robert Mulligan's Inside Daisy Clover, a dark drama about a child actress who rises to fame only to become a disillusioned, troubled star. Gordon played a key supporting role as the dealer who enables Natalie Wood's title character's destructive habits, delivering a performance that was both unsettling and compelling. Her portrayal earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, proving that she was not only back in Hollywood, but more than capable of holding her own in complex, unconventional roles. It was the first in a long line of memorable performances in which she would portray eccentric, mischievous, and sometimes even sinister older women, an era of her career that would ultimately make her a household name. The following year, Gordon took on another eccentric role, playing the quirky Stella Barnard in George Axelrod's dark comedy Lord Love a Duck, 1966. However, it was in 1968 that she delivered the performance that would define her legacy, her chilling portrayal of the manipulative and seemingly harmless yet deeply sinister Minnie Castevet in Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby. As the meddlesome, intrusive neighbor who lures the unsuspecting Rosemary into a nightmarish conspiracy, Gordon brought both humor and menace to the role, creating a character who was as unsettling as she was unforgettable. Her performance earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, finally securing her a place among Hollywood's most celebrated stars. She later reprised the role in a television sequel, further cementing Minnie Castevet as one of the most iconic villains in horror history. Following the success of Rosemary's Baby, Gordon became a fixture in Hollywood, often cast as peculiar, mischievous, or menacing elderly women. She thrived in dark comedies such as Where's Papa, 1970, in which George Segal plays a man desperately trying, yet failing, to frighten his overbearing mother to death. She also embraced lighter offbeat roles, like her turn in Clint Eastwood's action comedy Every Which Way, But Loose, 1978, where she played Eastwood's feisty, sharp-witted mother. Perhaps her most beloved role from this era was in Hal Ashby's Harold and Maude, 1971, a film that would go on to become a cult classic. Gordon starred as Maude, a free-spirited, life-loving elderly woman who forms an unconventional romantic relationship with a much younger, death-obsessed man, played by Bud Cort. Though the film was a box office failure upon its release and was met with overwhelmingly negative reviews, Gordon passionately defended it. She even wrote a strongly worded letter to critic Vincent Canby in response to his scathing review, standing by the film's message of embracing life despite its inevitable end. Over time, Harold and Maude found its audience, and Gordon's portrayal of Maude became one of her most celebrated performances, earning her an enduring place in pop culture. Television also became an important part of her later career, a medium that had not even existed when she first struggled to make a name for herself in theater. She made memorable guest appearances on popular shows such as The Bob Newhart Show, Columbo, and Rhoda, where she played Carlton, the doorman's mother. One of her most notable TV roles was Sugar Mama on Taxi, which won her an Emmy Award, proving that even in her later years, her sharp comedic timing remained unmatched. In addition to acting, Gordon continued writing, penning the television film Hard Hat and Legs in 1980. When she wasn't working, Gordon divided her time between New York and Martha's Vineyard, where she and Garson Kanin had purchased a home in Edgartown. There, she wrote 3 volumes of memoirs, beginning with Myself Among Others in 1971, as well as a mystery novel, Shady Lady, published in 1984. That same year, she took on another memorable film role as Mrs. Levine in Maxie, playing an eccentric landlord and former vaudeville performer who unknowingly conjures the spirit of her long-dead stage partner. Sadly, before Maxie was released, Gordon passed away quietly at her home in Edgartown on August 28, 1985, at the age of 88. From her early struggles on Broadway to her unforgettable role in Rosemary's Baby, Ruth Gordon proved time and time again that persistence pays off. She never let rejection stop her, and in the end, she became one of Hollywood's most respected talents. Her work continues to inspire actors, writers, and fans alike, and while her passing marked the end of an era, her legacy lives on. What's your favorite Ruth Gordon performance? Let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more classic Hollywood stories. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.